Hey everybody, Russell Allen here with Allen Football Prep. Really excited to bring you today's breakdown of the NFL's leading tackler, Bears linebacker TJ Edwards. He's a really underappreciated player that's playing at a really high level right now, and I'm really excited to break down a couple of plays with you so you can see just how well he's playing. Let's get right to it.
First one I want to show you here, it's actually the second play of the game against Minnesota on Monday night. Minnesota here is an 11 personnel, so the Bears have matched it with their nickel personnel. They've got their nickel defense in the game here. So they've got three corners on the field to match the three receivers. Okay, but they're playing man-to-man here. Looks like cover one. So the three corners are going to match the three receivers. This safety will end up on this tight end, and the two linebackers are responsible for the running back. So whichever way he steps to that side, that linebacker will take him. The other one will essentially be a hole player or a rat player, trying to help match crossing routes or any of those types of things. Should it be drop back pass? Okay, so let's start out here in a 3-by-1. Minnesota motions shifts here a little bit. Okay, condenses down into this 2-by-2 formation. Now, interesting thing to note here, as I said before, we always want to take inventory from the offense and figure out as much information as we can. Okay, and one thing I do know is they do not want this slot receiver as their main point of attack blocker on a run game. Okay, so whenever we see, whether it's by motion or shift or if they just align this way, whenever we see a receiver more or less in the core or attached to the formation, like number four here, we're immediately thinking this is going to be run away from him where he can sort of just be a seal blocker, or it's going to be boot back his way. So that's typically what we would think right away is run away, boot two when I see a receiver attached to the core like this. Okay, so let's take a look from the back because this is going to be a run play. We'll be able to see TJ's footwork and eyes much better from the back, but essentially this is just a zone play into what ends up being an underfront after the shift, and he makes a really good play here coming downhill, reading the blocks, seeing his gap actually moves, his gap actually changes because 91 goes inside, which we'll talk about when we get to the back, and he just scrapes over the top and makes a nice play. Good way to start the day. All right, let's take a look from the back. So here we are. This is right after here they shift. Okay, now it's goes essentially from an overfront to an underfront because they choose not to slide the front. So initially we have our three technique to the tight end, one technique away. They shift this tight end. Now oftentimes you'll see teams slide the front if they really want to be in an overfront, so they'll just bump the front over to keep the three to the tight end side. Bears choose not to do that here, so it essentially ends up in an overfront. Now in this single high coverage, with one back in the backfield. As linebackers, what we talk about is one back, one gap, which means they can basically just line up in their gaps here, and they're really going to be responsible for one gap. The only thing that would change their gap would be some type of pull from the offense, okay? Okay, so as we said, number four in the core here, this receiver, we're thinking run away or boot action back to him. And sure enough, what do we get? Run away from him. Okay, and here he is trying to seal off the defensive end. You see this matchup out here? Okay, number four versus number 98 from the Bears. This is why you're not going to probably see direct run towards him as the edge point of attack blocker for the offense. Okay, so anyway, back to the point here. Here's TJ lined up right in the B gap. Okay, this is a nice, easy zone play. I just know, okay, I'm downhill in my B gap. Okay, now whether this was called or whether this is a B right, we've got 91 crossing face into the B gap here. So TJ now his gap goes from being the C gap, or excuse me, from the B gap to the C gap. Okay, so as this zone play unfolds, he's going to come downhill. He's going to feel that space there, really unblocked, and come down and make a nice play to start the day. Okay, the only critique I would give him here, because I think everything is great. Feet look good, eyes are in the right place, good alignments. Okay, good footwork. I would say maybe right about here. There's a little space there inside. I think we can come tighter off the hip of the tackle and make more of an inside out, stronger tackle here, and really give this running back nowhere to go. Make him, if anything, bubble his feet to the sideline. So we overrun this here a little bit. We lose some of our power. We lose some of our ability to not get mushed forward for 2 yards, which is sort of what happens here. I mean, a really darn good play. That would be my only critique. Is just maybe a little tighter off the hip of this tackle as you're flowing to that C gap. But a really darn good way to start the day. Nice play. All right, next one I want to talk to you about here is a little later in the game. This is a 3rd and 10 play, and Minnesota is going to be here in 11 personnel in a trip set with this back up real tight for protection. I think they feel this pressure coming, and the Bears are going to play some fire zone coverage here behind it, and they're going to try to light them up. Actually, going to bring 6 here. Now, I do think there's some sort of communication bust here. Typically, what you'll see with these fire zone coverages, you're going to need what we call a seam flat defender down here on number 2 on the slot, really playing 2 vertical and out, and which prior to the snap appears to be number 6 here, the safety or this nickel corner, but you're going to see him come on the pressure. So usually if they're committed to bringing the nickel, then you'll see one of these A-gap mugged up linebackers needs to remove himself from the box and get out there on number 2. But we don't get that done here pre-snap, so we're a little short in the flat. But what I love about TJ's technique here is his awareness, his path, and his vision. Okay, so he knows right now I got to match the final 3. Okay, final 3 in this case being the slot receiver on this little hookup route here. Okay, so he comes out nice and smooth, nice and under control, feet underneath him, vision of the quarterback, vision of the routes, feet underneath him. Now, again, we're short on the flat here, but as Dobbs gets his feet moving, checks the ball down here, watch TJ put his foot in the ground and go make a play on 3rd and 10 to get his team off the field. Bah! Okay, we talk about you got to cover 1/3 of the distance that the ball's in the air. So when that ball's thrown, and I get my foot on the ground and go right now, I got to cover 1/3 of the distance that the ball travels. So that's maybe a 20-yard throw. So I got to cover roughly 7 yards while that ball's in the air. Bam, that's beautiful. Well done. Okay, so do my job, feet underneath me, pop my feet, read the quarterback, adjust with the rollout, put my foot in the ground and go. Get off the field. Make your team right after what's likely a miscommunication in coverage. Say, it's okay, I'm going to go make a play. Get us off the field. 3rd and 11, don't worry about it. I'm going to go make a play, punt the ball. Bam, great play. Let's see from the back real quick so we can see his feet. Okay, mugged up in this weak side A-gap. And he knows where my work is. He knows I got to match final 3, which to start pre-snap is this tight end. Okay, snap the ball. Tight end leaks out. Now I got to find the new 3 coming to me. I love how he's underneath this and body presence because he knows he's got that post safety right behind him. Okay, we don't need to chase this thing all the way down the field. Keep my eyes on the quarterback, get underneath it. Now I can go be a ball player. Check that thing down, go make a play. Great job. Let's let it roll through so you can see it in real time. See the new 3 underneath it, put my foot in the ground, 1/3 of the distance the ball travels, go make a play. Nicely done. Another 3rd down example here of TJ Edwards helping his team get off the field. So here the Vikings are in 11 personnel, come out in an empty set. We've got the back down here at the bottom and the tight end up top, creating our 3x2 empty set. And the Bears are going to play a quarters coverage, it looks like here. And so we motion the running back into the backfield here, create a 3x1 gunfire trips, we call this formation, on 3rd and about 10. So here again, they're going to be in quarters coverage, which makes TJ our quarter flat defender. So different than the seam flat defender we talked about on the last one, where we've got to carry 2 vertical. Here we really are almost just man-to-man on number 2 underneath. If there's anything deep, we know we have safety help over the top. So you have 2 out, and if 2 inside releases, then we're going to deliver it to the Mike linebacker, depending on what he's getting inside from number 3. So here, look, it's a quick screen to this back, and man, this is just an excellent job pulling the trigger by TJ. He knows I've got safety over the top. I got nothing to worry about deep. I'm going to keep my feet under control. Man, I see that guy sit down. I'm just going to pull the trigger and go. Excellent job. This big offensive lineman, they don't want to be in space with us, man. So you just got to get your foot in the ground. You got to go quick. You got to beat that guy with speed and go make a play. In a normal situation, I would say he could play a hair tighter to number 2 by alignment as far as his depth. He could be more like 3 yards of depth here, so he can get some hands on 2. But this is 3rd and 10, so I think he's perfectly okay being a little softer here in coverage, just giving a little bit more of a cushion for this 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10 look. But then, man, when that ball's out, he gets his foot in the ground, gets out of there, goes and makes a heck of a play. Like we talked about on the last one, we talked about break 1/3 the distance the ball is in the air. So this is maybe a 12-yard throw. Let's take a look at where he's at when he throws it. Ball's out. I'm on the 36-yard line. It gets all the way to almost the 42. That's about six yards of break almost on a 12-yard throw. That's an excellent job. Beat the O-lineman with speed. Keep your balance. Keep your feet. Go make a play. Man, great job. Another example of a guy just making plays, playing at a high level, and that right there, these examples are how you lead the NFL in tackles. So great job by TJ Edwards.